Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Just like I said last week, today I'll be covering helpful writing habits for artists. All of these tips are coming from my guide, The Artist's Guide to Writing, and if you're interested in how you can pick up a copy for yourself, there will be more on that later. The biggest challenge that all artists and writers face is efficiency, how they can be the most efficient when tackling their own projects. There are numerous ways to go about achieving efficiency, but today I would like to highlight 3. The first being consistency. Now, everyone says be consistent for everything, anytime, from learning a new skill to going to the gym 3 to 5 days a week. But especially for creative work, it's extremely difficult to want to find time when you feel like every day you're literally dragging yourself to your desk to begin on your work. Motivation can be extremely fleeting, so it's very unreliable. Instead, I like to set up my schedule so that the worst possible version of me could do this easily. I'm talking about the absolute bare minimum to be able to consider it a completed workday. Whether I got enough sleep the night before, whether I'm jet lagged, no matter what, I should be able to complete this task. And then when you're done and you've successfully completed your work for the day, reward yourself. This doesn't have to be something extreme or grandiose. It can be as simple as a little piece of candy. I personally like to give myself a stamp that leads up to a larger reward once I've completed a stamp card. If you would like to learn more about my stamp card system, the video will be linked in the cards above. And this ties perfectly into tip number 2, which is don't have 0 days. It's one thing when you're stumbling around a bit, trying to get used to a new schedule or system, but it's important that you don't allow this to become a pattern. Because if it does, you're not only going to feel guilty about not being able to do the things that you said you were going to do, but you're also training your subconscious to view yourself as someone who doesn't keep their word. Now, both of these things seem harmless on the surface, but they can quickly compile into other areas of your life, and before you know it, you've hit complete burnout. To avoid all of this, set a short timer for 2 to 5 minutes and pick a small task and complete it. Even if you are dirt dog tired, you should be able to complete this one task. You could get an idea out on paper, you could sketch a scraggly, ugly little thumbnail, just anything to get your mind in alignment with getting the work completed. Now, whether or not you continue past that timer is up to you on that specific day, but in that moment, just completing that much, you're now telling your brain that you are a person who keeps their word and you have completed something toward your end goal. Now, this last tip isn't even in my guide, but I'm going to mention it here because it helps minimize creative guilt and maximize motivation. And that is have a daily minimum art habit and a daily minimum writing habit. We know that motivation is going to fluctuate, and sometimes the thing that you want to do is not always the thing that's going to move your project or business forward. So the way that I've found to mitigate the creative guilt associated with that is having a minimum task in each area that is not only going to advance my skills there, but also not take up too much time. That way, if I know that I have to do a lot of writing, I know that I can do that art task and fulfill my motivation toward art while spending enough time on the writing task. Because it's very difficult to even have the motivation to write when you feel like you've swapped your paintbrushes and canvases for pens and notepads. That is it for my tips today. And again, if you're interested in the Artist's Guide to Writing, it's $35 off this month, and it goes over all of these tips plus more, and it shows you how to turn any idea that you have into a fully completed outline ready to turn into a first draft. It covers all of the writing concepts and shows you how to apply them to your own writing process. I get it, we don't really know each other, so instead of just taking my word for these things, you can try out the free sample of the guide, which will also be linked below with the full version. Thanks again for watching, and tune in this Wednesday because I'll be using that same guide to write my debut comic. See you next time, bye!